How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today, let's talk about budgeting basics. Now, here's a more conceptual way to think about budgeting. It's not really about me telling you how much you should spend on each thing because everyone has very different preferences. Everyone will have a certain amount of income and everyone will have a certain amount of expenses. Sometimes you would have the exact amount of expenses as your income. Sometimes you have more expenses than your income, which is probably why you're looking at this video, because you are spending more than your income and racking up credit card bills. What you want to do, of course, is just to get your expenses lower than your income. My normal mode of operation is to reduce all expenses to a bare minimum. Now, I can't talk about every single expenses that you have, but I have a peculiar list of 4 items here that I'd like to talk about just to give you an example of what to think about when you look at your own personal expenses. Some things, when you look at your budget, you may think they are bare necessities. However, whenever you look at a bare necessity in your budget, it may not actually be a bare necessity if you know how to work around it. Let me give you an example. A cell phone plan is extremely expensive. It runs most people somewhere between $50 to $90. But you know what I spend? I spend $0 on my phone personally. It's because I use it through Freedom Pop and it works on the Sprint LTE network. I get 1 free gigabyte of data every single month and I still get voice calls through their data network. And yes, I pay $0 on this phone plan. This free phone plan, however, does have its drawbacks where the cell phone quality, the voice quality is not so good. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're in need of budgeting, that might be something you should explore because that knocks off $50 to $90 a month, and that's a large amount that you can put towards, I don't know, food or whatever, other things that are really necessities. Cable bill is easy for me because I personally don't have cable. I don't really watch that much TV myself, but some people might go, you know, they really need to watch certain things. All I can say is you don't absolutely need it, okay? It might be something that you really want. You want to keep up with sports or like whatever shows that you have, but hey, I don't keep up with it, and look, I'm still standing here, I'm just fine. So it's more of a perspective thing. You really have to just step out and go, hey, what's really important to me? Can I cut off this cable bill or the TV bill or whatnot? Because those things are actually really expensive, and if you look at your budget, it could account for a large percentage. Now, the third thing is something that's surprising to me, and I like to talk about trash service. For the longest time, I thought my trash service was reduced to the bare minimum. However, I talked to my friend who told me I can actually cancel my trash service. Before I canceled my trash service, I worked on converting all my compostable waste and put it in the green bin, which is not the landfill bin. The landfill bin is the one that costs the most. So I was able to reduce that trash service. Every 3 months was $90, all the way down to every 3 months is $40. So every single year I saved about $200. And this is something that I didn't think I could actually do. I looked at the service before. I'm like, hey, this is the bare minimum. I even called them and asked them, hey, is there something smaller that you can give me in terms of the landfill bin? They said, no, there isn't. But a friend of mine actually told me about this, and hey, lo and behold, I was able to reduce it further. So my total automatic burn rate is really low. You can imagine $0 on phone, $0 on cable, $90 on trash, going down to $40 every 3 months on trash. Something else you might want to think about, it's also juice and soda. This represents a very expensive part of your groceries bill, which is basically all sugar. If you eliminate this, you're not going to die, okay? If you don't drink juice and soda, you are not going to die. You will actually be a lot healthier, actually. While you're doing this, don't go buy the chips and all those junk food. And maybe, just maybe, you can eliminate the beer and stuff, because those are actually very expensive and it's also not good for your health either. It's a matter of perspective, because a long time ago, I absolutely required juice. I'm like, I don't want to drink this. I want something flavored. I want something sweet. However, you can wean yourself off of having so much sugar, and this directly impacts your budget. And if you're able to eliminate those, you can reduce your expenses. So my whole point with this is maybe when you're looking at your budget, you minimize everything already. But take a look again. You could get creative and reduce things some more. It's a matter of perspective, because at some point, people would be adamantly saying they cannot live without a certain thing. I know some people that cannot live without a cell phone plan. I know some people that cannot live without a cable plan. I know some people that is unwilling to compost more trash, and others that are absolutely dependent on drinking soda, Diet Coke, or whatever juice or grape juice, white grape juice or whatnot. So your budgeting is actually flexible, and it's not this hard thing where when you have minimized your expenses, it cannot move any lower. Oftentimes when you look at something, it's just a matter of understanding about that item if that was absolutely necessary. The next important concept to grasp is that you should not always buy the cheapest of everything. You should actually buy the most price efficient, because normally if you are living to paycheck, you might be shopping at a dollar store more and more often. However, consider this: whenever you're buying a cheap bottle of soap, a lot of times I've noticed the dollar store stuff water things down. You can buy a $1 bottle of soap and maybe it will last you 1 week. However, if you buy the good stuff, maybe it's $5. Oh look, $5 more. It's 5 times more expensive. However, maybe it's more concentrated, it works better, and it actually lasts you 10 weeks long. So you see, if you buy the more expensive stuff at the regular store, it's actually cheaper by 50%. When you look at the long term. These kind of examples goes on and on. For example, in a dollar store, you can look at a $1 bottle of Windex, which is basically just blue water, okay? I've looked at the ingredients in some of these things. It's just water, and there's not even ammonia in it, and basically you can actually make this yourself. And I have a video on my channel where I show you how to make your own Windex, so you don't even have to go buy it. Finally, after you minimize your spending to the bare minimum, and you got really creative and stuff, and got everything down really low, you should not go bare minimum for too long of a time. It is my belief that even if you earn a pretty low income, most people can get away with spending less than what they earn. If this whole circle is your income, and you have a bare minimum spend already represented by this part over here, you're going to have a certain amount that you can save. Now, it's important to not keep at this bare minimum all the time, because you're going to feel like you're just, grinding away and not really living your life. It's important to take a portion of what you save, okay? $100, $200, $300 worth, and take a look at that and say, hey, you can take this and spend it on fun stuff for that month. Now, this little bit is actually very important because it keeps you going and it makes you feel good and it kind of rewards yourself. So you really need to portion a little bit of this for fun money. When you have a dollar amount of fun money that you can use from what you're going to save, you're actually going to think really hard about it before you spend it on something that you actually like. For example, maybe you want to use this fun money to go to the movies, but maybe it takes up half of the fun money of your budget for that month. Then you might kind of think about, well, maybe you don't want to spend it on that because maybe there's something that is more important to you that would actually get you more happiness for that portion of amount that you spend. It's important to actually spend it rather than just be like a Scrooge and save everything up, because this amount is what keeps your morale up and keeps you wanting to keep at this bare minimum. Because if you just take everything away, it's gonna feel like you're living in prison, right? Oh yeah, you're gonna eat like the most basic meals. Everything is the most basic. It's gonna feel pretty terrible if you stay at the bare minimum for too long. So I know this is kind of broad, but I think the mentality with budgeting is more important than the actual numbers itself. The first thing you need to do is minimize spending. Finding all the tips and tricks to minimize spending may take some time because every single thing that you reduce down may take a week or two. So you gotta build upon your minimized spending methods, and then it would get lower and lower as you find out new ways to reduce your budget. The second thing is not to always buy the cheapest thing possible, but to buy the most price efficient thing possible. The third thing with budgeting is that when you save a certain amount, you need to allocate a small portion of it for fun money so that you can feel good about saving. So that's all I have for you for today. I hope these tips and tricks helps you reduce your spending and helps you budget a lot better. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, comment down below, share with me your budget, and I'd be more than happy to comment on it and maybe make some suggestions. If you're interested in supporting this channel, you can check out my Gamefly link down in the video description below, where you can get a 30-day free trial for Gamefly. I also have a Patreon over here, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.